believe it or not, I do read the comments, and sometimes people can see things on camera that I don't see because, one, the camera can give me a really good close-up shot, and two, the angle is different from where I'm looking. And in this case, someone suggested that they thought they saw something, so I figured I'd check it out. One of my eagle-eyed viewers said he thought he spotted a microscopic chip component missing R280 on a close-up shot. That I didn't even notice it even with the glasses on here, but looks like there might be a part missing there, actually. Could that be the fault? Looks like R280 might not be on the board. And that would certainly, you know, if we lost the voltage to this chip, that would certainly kill the chip for sure. I'm just gonna put my meter onto the neighbor of it here and just see what value it is. And maybe, just maybe, we can save this thing. So the neighbor of this is a 23 ohm resistor. How about this one? This one's also a 23 ohm, as is this one. So 20 ohms is probably what value I could put on there. We'll try that. We'll try a 20 ohm resistor right on there. It looks like possibly a close look. Looking at it with my eyes, I can't tell. This, I mean, if you look at the size of this component, we're talking, well, just look at the size of the component compared to the tip of my probe. I'll have to use a really fine soldering iron for this because there's the size of the soldering iron tip. So I'm going to have to go to a really, really fine tipped iron for this and find a very, very small resistor to put on there. But we'll try that and see whether adding a 20 ohm resistor at the location of R280 will get this chip back in service. That would be fantastic if it does. Okay, so I've got a small resistor here. This is not quite the same as the original. This is a 30 ohm, but it's probably close enough. If that's what it is, that probably will work. And yes, that's how small this freaking thing is. Good luck. Can barely see the thing, never mind put it on the board and try to solder it in place. But that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to put this stupid chip on this board and solder it down right there. And if this thing makes the audio work from the headphone jack, I'll be a miracle worker. I can barely see this thing when I pick the goddamn thing up and put it on the board. It's ridiculous. It's tight. It's like the size of a flea, for Christ's sake. I got it on the end of the point here. Let's flip that freaking thing over. Get it on the board. Oh, this is going to be tough. I've got it sitting on there now. It's going to try to turn it over the right way. I don't know if you guys can see it with my head in the way, but well, there it is. Should probably throw a bit of flux on there. We'll try to tack it down. It's upside down, but oh well. I don't think a resistor really cares whether it's up the right way or not. This would definitely be a job for my hot air station, but I just don't want to bring it in here because I'm afraid of other parts blowing off. Put just a bit of flux on there. That'll hopefully hold it in place while I get the iron in and try to tack it down on both sides. Hopefully my adding flux didn't move it. Hard to tell if it's stuck or not. It's really hard to tell. It might be in there. It sort of looks like it's there. It's so bloody small. See if we can measure it with the meter here and see whether I get the resistance of it. Looks like 33 ohms. Well, 30 ohms because my probes have got a couple of ohms of resistance. Okay, I guess the only way to find out if this thing works or not is if I plug some headphones in and give this thing a source and see if I get sound out the headphones. So let's just try that and see whether it works. Okay, I've got the headphones plugged in. It's booting up. Well, I'll be forked. Can we get feedback? I'll take the headphones, which are plugged into the headphone plug, and we'll hold it over the speaker on the microphone. Will you hear the sound? Hello? Hello? Can you hear it? Hello? 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 Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2 3. Can you hear the echo? The headphones are working. So what do we learn here? A part had fallen off the board, and it's one that I missed because I wouldn't even know wouldn't even be looking for that, right? But I was right. It was this chip that wasn't working. It just, somebody was studying this. They were going frame by frame, and they said, gee, it looks like that resistor is missing. So I went back and I looked at it. I looked at the video, and it's like, well, I agree. It looks like there might be a part that's missing there. So I hadn't obviously sent this back yet. It was still sitting here. So I popped it apart again. Let's take a closer look. So I looked really close. It looks like there might have been a part that was there. Comparing it to, say, other parts on the board that where there is no part. Also, now you look. This is microphone input 2. Right, that's working. You can see the audio there. I'm talking into the headphones, and you can see that. Left channel, right channel, or whatever. Left channel, right channel, left channel, right channel. That's input 2. We'll move it to input number 1. Input number 1 was this one. Make sure that input 1 is still working, and you'll now see that input 1 over here has got audio as well. So that's working. So this thing's working. This thing's working. Excellent. Now, one of the reasons I didn't even look at that. A lot of times there's points on the board like this one here, R187. There's no resistor there. A lot of times there are places on the board where there is no components. So that's why I didn't even notice that chip that was missing, was because, well, there are other locations on the board where there is no part. You know, R187, for example. What is R187? Is it a part that's missing, or is it just a part that wasn't there initially? And I guess what happened over here was, when I see a part that's not there, I just assume that, okay, that's just not supposed to be there, because, you know, you've got other components on the board where there isn't any, and they're not supposed to be. And in this case, there was one, and someone just happened to notice that the way the light was reflecting off of it on camera, which looks different than when you're looking at it with the naked eye, and it's a lot easier to spot things under a microscope, basically. And that's basically what the camera is acting as, like a microscope, because this camera's got a pretty good lens. It's got a 20 times lens, and I can get in real close like this. And it just so happened, it just was the way that the light was bouncing off of it at the angle that I was shooting it at, that someone said, hey, that looks like a part may have been on the board. And it turns out that that's exactly what it was that part fell off. So if you've got one of these units and you've got no audio for your headphones, check these resistors. And I would say, going to the same degree, the other chip is over here, and it's probably going to have the same type of resistors over. It's probably these ones over here that are supplying voltages. But I had it down. I was right. The chip wasn't working. It wasn't the chip that was causing it. It was missing one of its supply or one of its signals, and that was causing all the outputs to be nothing there. But it's now working, so I've got a happy customer. He's going to be it's going to be puddles on the floor when he sees the video, because I haven't let him know that I found it. But so it's not a total loss. This one's actually up and running, and I hope you guys learned something on this. That yeah, sometimes you'll find that it's a part that's fallen off the board, and that's part of the problem with these chip components, is that they can just fall off the board. Sometimes we get lucky, they fall off the board and they're inside it. You know, when you open it up and you find something rattling around inside, which is usually the case, you find it, okay, there's a chip component that's fallen off. We can find it, it's sitting inside the unit. Let's see where it goes. But in this case, a part this small, it's going to fall out through the ventilation, more than likely at the back, or it might even be still inside here somewhere. A part that small, it's going to be really, really tough to try to spot something like that, because I mean, if you saw the size of that part, it was well, I showed you the comparison to the soldering iron, for example. I mean, it's like literally, well, there's the point of my dental pick. Gives you an idea how small that part is. How I managed to get that thing tacked down with an iron is beyond me. I was certainly sure I was going to have to try that several times, but first time lucky, I guess. I got it. So let's put this piece of crap back together before something else breaks on it. So as usual, this thing's this normal pain in the ass to put together, to get all the ports lined up and so forth. They're certainly not the easiest thing to get back together. You gotta line up all the ports, line up all the HDMI ports, and then, okay, there, it looks like I got it. I can put the screws back in now. I'll put the bottom on it. We'll give it another test before I'm done. I'll just plug my cable box or something into it so that I've got some video. And I don't have a monitor up here, but we don't really need a monitor. I think the I don't know if my TV, this monitor I use on my camera here to see what I'm doing is a very old set. It does not have HDMI, it has DVI, so there wouldn't be any audio on there, but it might display the video. I don't know whether it will. I don't know if it'll take a 1080p signal or not, because the camera comes up at like 576p or something ridiculous. But let's see whether I can get a picture out of here on something. Now this went on, this was there's a heat sink on here, and this went on like that, I believe. It's this way. Let's see which way this lines up, because there is a heat sink on the bottom here that goes right over the processor, right that way. This is a heat sink and it goes right over that area. Had a real exciting day today at work. I don't know that I should talk about it here for legal reasons. I think I won't talk about what happened at work today, but let's just say it was an interesting day, and I was the hero of the day. The outcome, had I not shown up when I did, let's just say the outcome could have been far more serious. Alright, let me hook this thing up. We'll give it a final test and get it the hell out of here. Okay, so we got audio going out the HDMI output. And I can mute that. Let's see if I got audio here on the...
Diabetic footwear that fits you. Code on screen for a
yep, I got audio on my headphones as well.
can't wait to get out of here.
So now I've turned off the sound on the TV. We have audio on the headphones using the headphone out. If I plug it into the line out, we have audio on the line out, as you can hear. And we'll see whether I've got any audio input. I'm looking at the little screen on there. My headphones are being used as a microphone. That's plugged into line input number 2 right there. And if I put it into line 1, you'll see that it goes over to this one. So we have both inputs working. Both inputs are working. Both the headphone out and the line out for the analog audio is working. This unit is 100%. And everything is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.